Einstein's general relativity is one of the most beautiful theories that the human intellect has devised. And even though it looks very simple, it encodes very, very complicated equations, and these equations give rise to very strange things. This is one of the reasons why we continue to be surprised, even though the equations themselves were written down 100 years ago. It is also the reason why we suspect that there are many, many hidden treasures in the theory, but treasures that we just haven't been smart enough to dig out yet. The theory of general relativity describes gravity as space-time curvature. Space and time are just a continuum that can be deformed. Anything and everything deforms space-time. For example, a still object like myself here produces a static deformation of the space-time fabric, whereas waving goodbye to your friends, just doing this, produces traveling ripples in space-time called gravitational waves. Under some dramatic situations, the curvature can be so extreme that it punches a hole in space-time. Now, these holes are thought to happen when old stars exhaust their fuel, they lose the ability to counteract their own gravitational pull, and they basically fall on itself. Usually, this will result in a black hole, which is an object from which not even light can escape. Black holes are extreme and bizarre solutions to Einstein's equations. At their center, gravity is so strong that quantum mechanics is also believed to become important, but it happens that we just don't know what the consequences are. The reason is we don't understand quantum mechanics when gravitational fields are so large. But the problem is, what if these quantum effects become important when the star is collapsing and falling on itself? Do we even know that quantum effects may or not prevent black hole formation? To try and understand black holes, we did computer simulations, and these simulations tells us that when two black holes collide, they stir space-time so much that huge ripples are produced, huge gravitational waves. And these waves splash all over the universe, and this already gives us a way to understand black holes. We try to catch and study gravitational waves that they release when colliding. Now, unfortunately, these waves are not easy to catch and study. By the time they reach the Earth, their size is so small that they hardly have any effect at all here on Earth. Now, if you add to that the fact that the Earth is constantly shaking, then it really is a complicated business to see the waves and to understand what kind of sources created these waves. We built very, very sophisticated detectors on Earth. These are called gravitational wave detectors, and usually they have 3-mile-long arms, 2 arms per detector. And they require the most perfect vacuum in the universe and the most perfect mirrors ever built in order to detect these waves. Now, in the future, we will have gigantic and very sophisticated detectors in space, and perhaps, just perhaps, we will understand a lot better the waves and who generated the waves. Now, the moral of this story is that it's really complicated to look for things that we don't understand and things that can't be seen. And this is why we haven't yet been able to understand whether or not black holes actually exist in our universe and if they behave in the way we think they do, according to the theory. For this reason, we are always searching for new valuable ideas, and gravitational waves might be one of those. You see, this is not only about knowing if black holes exist or if we can detect gravitational waves. It's about a lot more. It's about knowing how the universe where we live in behaves and how far we can go in our understanding of this universe. So it's really well worth the effort.